All right, shout out to Apollo Gymwear. Shout out to Apollo Gymwear, who gave me the fit. All right, go ahead, Jared. So I'm answering your question. So go ahead, Jared.
Yeah. Okay, so the question is, how can I tell if my company is too far behind in digital maturity? Can I be saved, or do I need to jump ship?
All right, so the question is, how can I tell that my company is too far behind in digital maturity? Can I be saved, and should I jump ship? Okay, so I'm going to talk about the mechanics of how to even figure that out. All right, so we have a process at 4.0 Solutions, and we talk about this in mentorship and mastermind all the time, actually, and there are many partner integrators who do this process with us, which is called the Digital Transformation Maturity Assessment, DTMA. Digital Transformation Maturity Assessment is a component of DTMA is what is our digital maturity, scored across 10 industry 4 pillars on a scale of 1 to 5. Okay, so you get scored across 10 industry 4 pillars on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest, and that gives you an aggregate score. And that aggregate maturity score is then run through a normalized distribution, and your organization gets plotted on a distribution that looks something like a normalized distribution like this. So because this video is inverted, this is going to be the low digital maturity, and this is going to be the high digital maturity, okay? The mean here, right now, in terms of digital maturity score, I believe at the last time I checked, was a score of 56 out of 100. The highest score up here, which is Tesla, is an 87. And the lowest score down here is a 27. All right. Where we stand right now, with very few exceptions. So if your organization right now falls down here, falls in this section here, you can't be helped. This is merger and acquisition. There are some exceptions, okay? So some exceptions for organizations that are down in this area of digital maturity are where they have patents that protect them in the market. They have contracts that protect them in the market. So that might be Department of Defense type stuff, okay? And there is intellectual property or a cornered market. And when I say intellectual property, I mean very specific intellectual property that cannot be recreated by a competitor. And then cornered markets. If your organization falls into one of those very rare exceptions, and you are under the mean right now, and you fall in this category, if you're not one of those rare exceptions, there is no help for you. So in order for you to tell, how do you find out where you fall in this, whether or not you can't be helped, is you have to go through the DTMA process to get scored and evaluated, okay? But let's say this, let's say you're an organization where your maturity score is, you're here, okay? So you're, 15 points under the mean, okay? That's actually gonna put you like on 1 standard deviation, because I think standard deviation on the distribution is about 15. But let's say you're one of those organizations that's under the mean, okay? And so we can predict that you are gonna lose in the market, and most likely you're either gonna go bankrupt, you're gonna merge with an organization that's up here, or you're gonna get acquired by an organization that's up here, or you're gonna merge or get acquired by a company that falls into this exception, okay? But the question is, how do I find out and what do I do? The answer is this. If you are in one of these companies here, and there's a caveat here, you go and you ask this very specific question. What is our digital strategy? If you go and you ask that question of your CEO, your CDO, and your CTO, and you don't get an answer, what you get is crickets. What you get is, what the fuck is a digital strategy? If you fall in this category and you ask this question of these people, and what you get is blank stares, then you need to jump ship, okay? But to answer your question, what do? You start here. because you don't know where you fall in here without doing this. Okay, it's just not possible. And and I get this question a lot. There are a lot of people who message me on LinkedIn, and in fact, there's a guy I've been going back and forth with who is part of a firm that does consults on mergers and acquisitions in industry. I've been going back and forth with him on this concept, and it's the common sense question, right? I asked the other day. I was doing a mentorship. I was being a mentor at a local high school. Myself and another data scientist from our organization, we get invited by this DECA group to speak to these high school students about entrepreneurship. And I did a speech in the very beginning where I asked these students, A, why did they want to be entrepreneurs? What makes you think that you're qualified to be an entrepreneur, number one? And then number two, I asked them, how important do you think being digital is to your entrepreneurial future? And there were actually a couple of kids who didn't think digital was that important. And so I had to have a lesson about if you're not investing or creating digital companies, then you're creating a company that will never survive. But I asked the question, why is Tesla awesome? I was using Tesla as the illustration. I do this all the time. And I always follow that up with, is there anyone here who disagrees, doesn't think Tesla is awesome? And there was actually a young kid who said, I don't think Tesla's awesome. And the discussion really was not centered around whether Tesla makes great electric vehicles or, which honestly, do they make great electric vehicles? That's not the question you should be asking. What you should be asking is, are they the most digitally advanced company in the world, which gives them the ability to just make products that get better after you buy them? So whether Tesla makes the best electric vehicle today is irrelevant, because they have the infrastructure to turn the electric vehicle that they ship today into the best electric vehicle tomorrow, right? That's what digital supply chain gives you. But when I was asking this kid, why does he think that Tesla's not awesome? He actually said, well, it's because they're unethical. Elon Musk, when I dug a little deeper, tell me about the lack of ethics. He couldn't tell me what it was that they were unethical about. And so it obviously told me that he had just read something that some journalist wrote some hit piece saying Tesla's unethical. What I like to do is I just like to ask the common sense question, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you where auto manufacturers are on this distribution, okay? So there are two auto manufacturers that are up here on the distribution, okay? You have Tesla and you have Volkswagen North America. So you have Tesla and Volkswagen up here at the top. And I'm not going to show you where everyone is, but one of the car companies is there, one of the car companies is there, and one of the car companies is there. So Toyota, General Motors, and Ford are the three that I'm talking about over here. I have not put Mercedes or BMW, I'm not going to put every car company. These are representative of the rest of the auto industry. So you have Volkswagen, and you have Tesla here, and you have Ford, General Motors, and Toyota down here. Okay. If I, just by looking at digital maturity, this is the threshold at which, right about here, which is it's 2 standard deviations above the mean, based on the 10 industry 4 pillars. And I'm not going to list what they are. But when we do the scoring, in order for you to have a digital maturity score up here, you must be able to make products that get better after you buy them. This is the threshold upon which organizations are making products that get better after they buy them, no matter what. There are companies in here who are making products that get better after they buy them. Actually, not on the mean, but up in here. If I told you there are 2 auto manufacturers who are incredibly digitally mature, they're the most advanced in the market, and they have the most comprehensive digital infrastructure in the world. And then there are 3 competitors who who are below the mean, which means they're in that area where we say for certain it's going to be merger and acquisition. Because, by the way, there's nothing here. The only thing that saves these companies, in the case of Toyota, it's Toyota AI Ventures might say is going to save Toyota, but it's not going to save Toyota as a car manufacturer. General Motors is going to be GMAC. They'll be a finance company, not a car company. And Ford Trucks, which is the cornered market. Ford Trucks, Ford has very specific technology in their trucks that make them unique in the market, okay? They have a cornered market when it comes to pickup trucks. They make the best pickup trucks in the world. If I told you that you have 3 car companies that are under the digital mean, or under the digital maturity mean, and you've got 2 that are at the very, very top, it is common sense that these organizations, if I ask you who's going to win, these organizations are solving their problems using digital infrastructure, in this length of time. And what we see is that it takes these organizations down here, this length of time, it's 4x, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it takes them 4 times as long to solve the same problem that this organization faces and solves in that skyline. It is common sense that just through 2 solution iterations, so for every 1 set of major problems that Ford, General Motors, and Toyota is solving, Tesla and Volkswagen are solving 4. Okay, and this, by the way, is basically 4 times per year. This is a 16-week window, give or take, and this is a 2 to 4 week window. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell that if that is the reality, that if I can solve my problems in 2 to 4 weeks because I'm predicting them, and my competitor is taking 16 weeks because they're reacting to them, and I make products that get better after I buy them, I'm going to win. Okay? So to answer your question, how do I know whether to jump ship? Start with a DTMA, find out where you are on this chart, then look at where all your competitors are, and then you'll be able to make the decision whether or not you need to leave. All right. Thank you for watching. Hopefully that answers the question. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, good.